Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is awesome. All right, let's do it. All right, I have 5 minutes to light a fire under your ass and get you more excited about what you're doing before than after this. So I'm going to tell you who I am, I'm going to show you what I want to teach you, and then hopefully I'm going to inspire you to go out and do it by yourself. So for the last 3 years, I was in the restaurant industry, specifically as a beverage director. I tasted hundreds and hundreds of things every single week, and I was in heaven, like absolute nerd pleasure land. I love this stuff. We would use these really intense graphics and have these great in-depth discussions about flavor and texture and aroma, and we would bring this out 2 or 3 times a week. But then I would go home and talk to my girlfriend and my parents and be like, oh my God, this wine smelled like Band-Aids and oysters. I'm like, that's gross. I was like, okay, so I gotta bring it back a little bit. And then I tried to do it with my friends, and I was learning in the restaurant, and these were some of the reactions I would get. There was just absolute rage, there was a little bit of confusion, maybe a scared kitty, you know, it all depended on the people's moods. So I decided I wanted to do something about this. I wanted people to understand why I got so excited and help share it with them. I was going to become a Sherpa of pleasure for everyone that I would come across and hopefully lead to a better place. Yeah, Sherpa of pleasure, write it down, it's good. But I didn't know how to do this. So in December, I was with my girlfriend, Jessica, down at Cure in New Orleans, which is a bar. They have this enormous back bar. And she was like, honestly, how many of these bottles do you know? And I was like, 90, 95%. I had seen a lot of them. She's like, how do you do that? And I was like, probably the same way you read Us Weekly every week and can follow all of the stories and all the celebrities and everything that's going on, because I have no ability to do it. But then I got to thinking, if she can do that, she can do whiskey. So I told her, pick 3 bottles on the back, anything you want. And she picked Buffalo Trace Bourbon, Pierre Ferrand Cognac, and Bulleit Rye Whiskey. I was like, all right, so what I have to do is take the things that I find interesting, but then ultimately I have to be able to describe these to her in a way that she understands and that she finds meaningful. So in a very Booth manner, I made a little bit of a chart, and the stuff on the top is the stuff that I know about each one that I find interesting, but ultimately the stuff on the bottom in red is what's really important, because if I want to explain something to you, you don't care about the top because you want to know what it's going to taste like because you're drinking it. So then I took those adjectives and I picked 3 celebrities. So now you have George Clooney, Natalie Portman, and Christopher Walken, which my girlfriend knows much more about than I do. But all of a sudden she has a framework to start with. But that wasn't good enough. So she was like, okay, fine, nice, start. Let's do Kim Kardashian. I was like, that's fine. You have to pick the adjectives. So we came up with a list together. At the time, pregnancy was still in debate. We weren't sure. But over the top, dramatic, wild, like these are really great adjectives. So then I was looking through the back bar, and then I found a particular scotch called Hedonism by a company called Compass Box. And it aspires to be over the top and dramatic and more than any other scotch. How perfect. So the bartender over here is listening. He's like, all right, I want in. So he grabs a bottle of Lafroig scotch out the back bar. Now, for those of you who have had this is not an easy thing for people to get along with. It is weird and strange, and I love it, but it's totally not for everyone. So it's like, all right, so what do people appreciate and admire but don't necessarily understand all the time? It's a little bit feminine, but it's covered in meat, and it's smoky, and it's weird, but like you can't not look at it like, what do you do with that? And either way, you're never going to forget that image now, and I guarantee you when you see Lafroig, you're going to think of that picture, so I'm sorry. So after all that, this is the framework that I'm going to work with. This is the stuff that I can develop because I'm a dork about drinks, and I find this stuff super interesting. So I take these adjectives and make these great maps. And now my girlfriend has the exact same tool, and you just do the same thing with celebrities. Not as robust, I admit. This is the part I had to do by myself, and I clearly did not do a great job. But either way, you get the idea. So why am I telling you this? Because maybe you don't read Us Weekly, and maybe you don't like whiskey. So it might seem like this isn't super applicable to you. But the reality is it's applicable to everyone. Everyone has frameworks that they've developed or passions that they're really excited about. And you can use that as a way to kind of build on what you know. If you haven't tried this before, go on Wikipedia and look up Billboard hits from the 1990s. See how many song lyrics you remember. It is horrifying. But if you can find a way to capture that knowledge that you've kept for so long, you can remember almost anything. And then you get this immense sense of freedom to do whatever you want, to think about anything any way you want. And then you can be like this bald eagle here. There's no reason to put this in. I just really wanted to put this slide in my presentation. To be totally honest with you. I've been trying all morning to come up with a good one. I got nothing. But most importantly, for me, beverage has become a way to better understand literally the world, just understanding where different things come from, how they're made, how the histories inspire them. And that's super exciting for me. So I want you to go back and think about something you're passionate about and something that has nothing to do with it, and then how you can make the two relate and help teach someone about something you love. Thank you.